Hi, welcome back to my channel, guys. Thank you. Please subscribe if you have not. I'm looking at this new Joker movie coming out on, let me see, Friday, October 4th. Folie, Folie du, Folie du. So it means French for madness of two, also known as shared psychosis or shared delusional disorder. Yeah, because of their love is going to intertwine between those two psych, psychiatric syndromes. Yeah, the symptoms. So those two already have issues, and they're going to you're gonna combine that. You see kind of like Bonnie and Clyde on dope. That's what you're gonna see. Um, Let me look at this review. Let me show you this review. This is from IGN.
2 years ago, the name Arthur Fleck hit Gotham.
And this scene reminds me of the bus scene, which I was going to show you this later. When I knew the Joker movie was coming out in 2019, I thought, well, when the movie came out, I found out that it totally not the movie what I was expecting for, not the action kind of movie. I kind of knew it. I kind of sensed that they're not gonna make that kind of movie. They want to show his story very, very deep, all the way how he became Joker. And well, let's get to this.
Like a hurricane.
Joker Folie charges out of the gate with a novel approach to DC's most famous villain, but it soon settles into rote rhythms. Though advertised as a dreamy jukebox musical, the sequel to 2019's Joker is actually more of a courtroom drama, and not a very interesting one at that. The film works best when pushing toward new ways of seeing its central character, often through the eyes of a...
That is awesome. Lady Gaga is going to be in that movie. I've got to tell you guys, she's going to be in that movie. Did you see her? Did you see her with the way that she was,
The film works best when pushing
I
toward new
remember her.
ways of seeing...
I remember her from American Horror Stories, that series, the whole series she was in. Oh, awesome. It was excellent. Brilliant actor. She is fantastic. I don't care what anybody says. I just loved her the whole way, all the episodes. She was totally crazy. I was kind of scared of her.
seeing its central character,
Look at that.
often through the eyes of a wonderfully realized Harley Quinn, played by Lady Gaga. But it too often
Wow.
insists on returning to familiar territory, and on occasion, familiar footage, instead of blazing a new path.
This is gonna be a romantic tragedy. Tragedy. I'm already seeing this.
For once in my life, I have someone who needs me.
Arkham Asylum is now home to Joker / Arthur Fleck, whose daily routine involves being awoken by gruff prison guards who demand jokes from him while he empties his latrine. It seems like Arthur no longer speaks very much. He certainly no longer smiles. Director Todd Phillips with
Man, look how skinny it is. He got skinnier from the first movie. I mean, it just looked a little older, but that is crazy.
the help of cinematographer Lawrence Sher, captures this mechanical mourning process in long, unbroken takes that draw the viewer into Joker's grimy world. As he awaits trial, his lawyer, played by Catherine Keener, insists he pleads insanity. She figures that the best defense is to treat Joker and Arthur as distinct personalities occupying the same body.
Hey Fleck, you got a joke for us today?
Arthur, like most people around him, knows this is more of a legal strategy than anything resembling the truth. But the question of how his adopted persona changes him constantly looms. On one hand, separating Joker's actions from Arthur's and framing them as a trauma response might get him an easier hearing. On the other hand, when he draws the gaze of fellow patient and avowed admirer Harleen Lee Quinzel, it seems like Joker is who he wants and needs to be.
For once in my life, I didn't feel so alone anymore.
Since the two meet during musical therapy, real and imagined songs are scattered throughout Folie à Deux's runtime.
I just don't want to see like them falling in love and then get separated with some kind of, you know, from authorities or something like that, because that's you know, Bonnie and Clyde, and they're on dope, like I said, and they're gonna probably unstoppable at some point. And these songs, sung by Joaquin Phoenix also.
These familiar Hollywood tunes and vintage pop hits are sung passionately by Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga, and some are even mixed with Hildur Guðnadóttir's eerie, booming score. The duo, at first, connects through song. They match each other's freak, the shared madness and delusion of the subtitle, what the French call Folie à Deux. But much of this ends up sidelined during the movie's lengthy courtroom scenes, which promise chaos
like
when
that.
Arthur begins representing
the
himself.
white
Unfortunately,
coat
the delirium of Phoenix smearing on the grease paint to play both attorney and defendant isn't quite delivered.
What's changed, Arthur?
After an initial hour set entirely within Arkham's walls, the sequel becomes a kind of referendum on the first Joker, though not in any meaningful, transformative way. Rather, it's merely an extension of the first film's plot in the most plotting and literal fashion. For a film that's almost entirely liberated from its comic book source material, Joker Folie à Deux is oddly constrained by its own predecessor.
Folie à Deux. Folie à Deux. Got it.
Returning characters show up to narrate events we've already seen, as Keener asks leading questions about Joker feeling like a distinct entity from Arthur. On the flip side, the prosecutor is a smarmy Harvey Dent, played by Industry's Harry Lawty. This version of the comic's villainous Two-Face is a treat to watch at all times.
That's Harvey Dent. Ah.
Though his line of argument sheds little light on Arthur's actions or state of mind.
Let's get out of here.
Perhaps the standout of this extended segment is Gary, Arthur's clown colleague from the first movie, whose dwarfism comes ever so close to being the subject of Arthur's comedic riffing when he takes the stand. If the sequel comes close to articulating an actual point about Joker, that is to say the persona and identity, it's that the coping mechanism that shields Arthur from the world's cruelty makes him cruel in turn. However, like many potent ideas upon which Folie à Deux touches, it's soon discarded. Similarly, Arthur's upbringing and abusive mother, detailed in Joker, are rehashed ad nauseum, while the topic of Arthur's future with Lee is quickly abandoned before it can offer any kind of thematic reflection.
Look around! Look at all these people!
This is the sequel's default MO, making it a frustrating experience beyond its initial Arkham-focused hour. At first, it creates a more careful and methodical aesthetic than Joker. Each scene is carefully composed, each methodical push-in has...
Yeah, it said this is just like Harley Quinn is so obsessed with Joker that movie is so obsessed with him, following way too deep into him. But I think it's necessary because to show their affections, how their love intertwined, you know, between each other, and when they introduce her to the movie, they need to show how much she obsessed with him, right? So I don't know why they're saying that you know, just like they're so obsessed with Joker. Name of the movie is Joker. See, like Harley Quinn, the sequel is a little too obsessed with Joker. It's called Joker.
has clear emotional intent. But as it progresses, it does little with its camera worth commenting upon. A few dreamlike flourishes do appear, though mostly to quote the familiar visuals of other musicals, like Jacques Demy's French New Wave landmark The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and Francis Ford Coppola's sincere, expressionistic One from the Heart.
We use music to make us whole.
Apart from these stray references, Phillips' expressionism is limited to making each environment and lighting source resemble, in some way, a harsh spotlight on a stage, silhouetting Joker and Lee until they become defined by their shape, their iconography. It's a great idea in theory, and taps into the performance aspect associated with the Joker character, but it rarely evolves visually or conceptually. It's just one of several things that ends up keeping the character in stasis, to the point that a vital emotional turn in the second half, which defines the movie's trajectory, comes entirely out of left field. It's one movie, and then suddenly, it's another.
I want to see the real you.
She is obsessed with it.
That said, Phoenix clearly knows this character inside and out by now. His posture is even more disconcerting this time. The actor is still shockingly gaunt, but the way he carries himself speaks to a body that has endured a life of abuse. Something as simple as uneven.
I mean, guys, look at that. Sorry, but that is
Clearly knows this character inside and out by now.
I don't
His
know.
posture
Look
is
at that. Yeah, I noticed from the first Joker movie too, but this is is that he cracked his left shoulder, or is it makeup?
even more disconcerting this time. The actor is still shockingly gaunt, but the way he carries himself speaks to a body that has endured a life of abuse. Something as simple as uneven shoulders can go a long way. When Arthur decides to embrace the Joker part of himself, this posture changes, almost fixing itself, as Phoenix sprawls out across the screen, luxuriantly, comfortably, and confidently, usually with a cigarette in hand. However, he never loses Arthur's inherent goofiness, even when putting on this front. As the Joker slips between forms of presentation, his accent slips as well, going from British to American Southern and back, as if he can't quite figure out who or what he wants to be.
There's a monster.
But if Joker Folie has a not-so-secret weapon, it's Lady Gaga's rendition of Harley Quinn, whose fascination with Arthur is the film's very foundation. It's a shame the movie never quite allows its musical elements to bloom. The energy of these segments only goes so far, because affording Gaga the chance to run the emotional and tonal gamut would have likely resulted in one of the greatest feats of screen acting modern Hollywood has ever.
Yeah, I don't know who they can pick other than her. I mean, right now she is the best of the best. Right now she fits perfectly for that role. I can't think of anybody else right now. If you guys can pick anybody besides Lady Gaga, you can put in my comments. But I can't think of anybody but her to fit this role. She is perfect. She just looks phenomenal. I can't wait to see this movie come out.
Ever seen. She even modulates her singing voice between the real Lee, an unprofessional who belts with an uneven passion, and Arthur's imagined version of her, whose singing is more, well, Gaga-esque. Sadly, she's constrained by a subtle performance in a film that's anything but.
Let's give the people what they want.
The careful line she walks between adoration and mania is entirely worthwhile, and temporarily allows a commentary on fandom obsession to sneak its way into the picture. Lee is practically a Manson girl. However, in true Phillips fashion, this idea never really comes to fruition. Before it has the chance, Joker Folie switches tangents yet again. That's to say nothing of the movie's intriguing Oedipal undercurrent, which frames Arthur's desire for adoration as a response to a lack of maternal warmth. No prizes for guessing how far this gets.
I got the sneaking suspicion that we're not giving the people what they want.
Joker, though scattered in its politics and committed to aping other, better filmmakers, at least had unifying visual and thematic motifs. It felt complete, albeit cobbled together. Joker Folie departs from this approach, initially for better, though eventually for worse. Its more considered frames and character dynamics set the stage for musical romance that never blossoms, visually, acoustically, or emotionally, giving way to a sequel weighed down entirely by its predecessor, despite how hard it tries to escape its orbit.
How about you, Arthur?
Well, don't want to look at the verdict. I want to show you this scene, the most disturbing scene in the first movie, and that's where I was so sad. That moment, I kind of like stopped watching the movie and couldn't watch it any move for a while. Next day, I kept on watching it. Just so sad.
Can you please stop bothering my kid?
I wasn't bothering
Just
him.
stop.
I was...
Yeah, he's so good at acting.
What, you think that's funny?
I'm sorry. I haven't...
Yeah, when I saw that note, I got tears in my eyes.
I'm sorry.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. I'm gonna look at some more videos. I'll be back. Bye.